I'd like to talk to you about a technique I like to call quieting the crazy monkey. The crazy monkey is all those thoughts jumping around in your head that don't always make a whole lot of sense, but nevertheless, they're there bouncing around from limb to limb. So this technique helps to calm those thoughts and bring them into perspective. This technique helped me personally lower my stress level from about an 8 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. So it's one I found really worked for me, especially as my kids were going through the teen years and I was dealing with kids kind of coming and going and not always knowing where they were. So we'll get to more of that later in the technique. The technique itself is actually quite simple. There's only 4 or 5 steps to the whole thing, and the most important part, if you forget everything else, is just remember the first question, which is it true? Those 3 words changed my life. So let me first quickly go through the steps of the technique to quiet the crazy monkey. So the very first question we ask ourselves is it true? The second question, how does it make you feel when you believe that thought? The third part of the technique is talking yourself off the ledge. Say you were calling up your best friend, they had an issue. How would you talk them down from that issue? The fourth step to the technique is seeing now how does it make you feel? Now that you've talked yourself off the ledge, how does that new way of thinking make you feel? And the fifth part is deciding how do you want to feel? Because although you can't choose what thoughts come into your mind, you can choose what thoughts to dwell in. So with this technique, I choose to dwell in the thought that makes me feel good. So let's say, for example, someone is criticizing you. Maybe someone's saying, oh, you're too shy, you're just too quiet, too shy. So the first thing you need to do is ask the question, is it true? Is it true? Am I quiet and shy? Well, if it's in my case, yes, I am. So if the answer is yes, you need to decide, is there anything I want to do about that? I'm perfectly okay with being kind of quiet, shy. It lets me sit back and listen. There's times where I'd like to be maybe more aggressive and that, but you know, for the most part, I'm perfectly okay with that. So in that case, this exercise is over. I need to decide if there's anything I want to do about that. And if I don't want to do anything about it, we're done. That's just someone else's opinion that they think I'm too quiet. I'm perfectly okay with it. So that's one example of the exercise in the case where the answer is yes. So with criticism, if it isn't true, then there's really nothing to do. It's just someone's opinion and you let it go. In the case of being quiet or shy, if it's not true, if I'm outgoing, if I can get in touch with my inner beast and fight my battles and do all that, then there's really nothing to do. It's just someone's opinion. They see the quiet side of you, and that's fine. So nothing to do. So let's move on to when we're making up stories in our head and stressing ourselves out. So let's try using this technique in a real life situation. So my situation as a mother of 2 teens, I often found myself at night pacing the floor when the boys were late coming home from a party or a night out. So I would use this technique to calm myself. Otherwise, when they walked in the door 5 minutes late, I'd be freaking out because I built this big story in my head. So I would use this to calm myself. So asking myself, is it true? So I'd be building this story in my head. Oh my God, the kids, they're driving home, they've gone in a ditch, the cops are picking them up. You know, just building this crazy story in my head. So I would ask myself, is it true? Well, can I say 100% that I know that they've gone in a ditch and the cops are picking them up? Of course not. So the next step is to see, how does that make you feel when you believe that thought? Well, believing that they've gone in a ditch, oh my God, my stomach's hurting, I'm freaking out, I can't get back to sleep, it's awful, I'm nervous, my voice is shaking, I'm a mess. So now the next step is to talk yourself off the ledge. So if my best friend were calling me saying, oh my God, Jane, you know, so-and-so's late coming home from a party, and I would be like, well, you know, Jack is usually pretty responsible. You know, give yourself a half an hour. Let yourself go back to sleep. Give him some time. You know, let him come home. See if he comes home. It'll be okay. So just talking yourself out of the situation, out of freaking out. Now you check in with your body. How does that make you feel? Well, okay, I've given myself permission to go back to bed. I'm feeling more relaxed. Oh my God, I can breathe again. I'm going to just go back to bed, relax, and hope that in the next, 10, 15 minutes, they come walking in the door. And typically that's exactly what happened. The boys would come in, oh, hey, Mom, sorry, cell phone went dead, couldn't call ya. Something like that. So, but I had a choice. Once I talked myself off the ledge, do I want to dwell in that negative thinking and keep building that story? Or do I want to just go back to bed and relax? There's nothing I can do anyways. It's outside of my control. The kids will be home when the kids get home. If the cops pick them up, I guess I'll get that phone call. So you need to just choose which way do you want to feel. So I learned to choose to feel good and go back to bed. Saved my sanity. So don't worry if you didn't catch all those steps. The next part of the video will be flashing up each of the steps on the screen so you can write them down or just commit them to memory. It's a pretty simple technique that you can just do through your thoughts. So good luck, and I hope you choose to have a more calm, peaceful, stress-free life.